Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
Hello everyone, my name is NAUSHEEN and I have secured All India Rank 9 in UPSC CSE 2023 examination, and this was my fourth attempt and my optional was history. Before discussing anything in history or about history strategy, sources and answer writing, I would like to tell you about my marks distribution all across the three mains that I have written in first, second and fourth attempt. So in my first attempt, I scored only 196 marks, and in second, I scored 223 marks in optional. And this year, I have secured 308 marks, and which is the highest this time. So I have seen a lot of jump from first and to this attempt, and I would like to provide you the guidance and personal mentorship through Insight IAS Academy at Baliyan's sir. And here I would briefly discuss my strategy. So starting with the sources of history optional, for map section I solved previous year questions from 2013 to 2022, all the topics that are being repeated. I made 30 to 40 words notes of those topics that are being asked, and I revised them about 1 hour daily between prelims and mains. And this was for map site. Also, I would like to add that some of the sites, they get repeated very often. For example, Burza Home or Adi Channalur. You need to do those topics very well. Coming to ancient India, I would say for basic reading and understanding of the subject, you can refer to Upinder Singh's book, and I would suggest do selective reading, because if you go cover to cover, it would be very lengthy and it would be very difficult to cover all those chapters. I would say refer to previous year questions and then go to the content that is mentioned in the book. For medieval India, the basic basic reading and understanding of the subject would get developed from NCERTs. Class 11th Old NCERT Medieval India by Satish Chandra. It would develop the base of medieval India, and then later readings we will be making short notes of the books. I referred Baliyan sir's notes. For example, the Khalji revolution that happened, it is there in sir's notes, and also the historiography of Bhakti movement that is there, that is here. So for modern India, I referred Shekhar Bandyopadhyay's book for basic understanding of the subject, and also Shekhar Bandyopadhyay is very heavy in historiography. Some of the sections that are asked in papers, for example, this year they asked the commercialization of agriculture. So a lot of historians could have been quoted in that answer, and that would come from Shekhar Bandyopadhyay's note. Book notes. For world history, I solved only previous year questions and tried to make notes and then shorter notes of it. For world history especially, I would say that there is a lot of scope of adding current affairs in it. For some of the sections, for example, what are the factors that are inhibiting the development of African countries, or how is UN faring in its role. So for that, you can very well add current affairs to these type of questions. For example, Africa, the Africa underdevelopment wala thing, you can make a map and then show what present issues are there in the countries of Africa. For example, I made note in 2023 and I wrote that Zimbabwe is facing 106% inflation. These countries are have recently seen military coups. This would come from current affairs, and you can add it in your notes. And for UN reforms thing, I mentioned recent Russia-Ukraine war that is taking place, and United Nations is unable to curb this. So these are the things that you can add in in answers of world history, where there is a lot of scope of adding current affairs. Other than that, I think that short and shorter notes, because history is a very vast and lengthy subject of optional, and when you have a limited time between prelims and mains, it becomes very important that you have your notes prepared, be it of 100 or 150 pages, but then you shorten it to 20 to 30 pages in between prelims and mains. So this was my brief strategy. I would like to again mention that I am personally connected to this institute Insight IAS by Baliyan sir, and I would be personally guiding people who would be connected, and I would also be sharing some of my strategies that helped me push my score from 196 to 308. This is a sample of my history optional notes that I made during this attempt. What I did was I made notes and left some blank space beside this, so that I can add whatever I found important. So this is something that, for example, I mentioned some primary source of the, I think this is about Khalji revolution only, and I mentioned some of the primary sources that mentions about Khaljis, or some historians that have written about Khaljis. So this was the thing that will come when you are thorough with the syllabus, and when you have read your basic notes again and again, then only you do this value addition to make your answer very attractive. Since the optional syllabus of history is very vast, and if you go on making topic wise note, it would be very lengthy process, and then a revision would become very difficult. So here PYQs come to your rescue. We can see that some of the topics they are getting constantly asked every year. For example, be it nature of state of during Ashoka, or nature of his Dhamma, or be it 18th century debate, or be it about Sangam age, social and political or economic conditions. These are questions that are being asked almost, I would say, after 1 or 2 year gap, it gets repeated. Similarly, if I would mention about in modern India, every year they asked that section which contains drain of wealth, commercialization of agriculture, about the independence and partition process. They are asking questions on it. So previous year questions would allow you to have a very good idea about what topics are getting repeated, and you can make notes or study those topics really well. So for example, I knew that Sangam age might be asked in the question paper, and it was being asked and it was asked in 2023 wala question paper. So I had already prepared historians जो उसमें mention करने हैं, तो वो चीज़ें हमें previous year question से पता चलती है. So when you are making your notes, so you can make notes according to those previous year questions that you go through. तो अगर modern state की हम बात करते हैं, तो the syllabus contains lot of keywords, but when you see the previous year questions, you will find that only few topics are being asked continuously. You will have to take a calculated risk here, that if you cover those topics well, if you are covering sources well, if you are covering multiple historians that are there in the questions that can be written, so it would be a score booster for you, because it would be easier to revise and replicate them in the actual answers. तो लास्ट आई वुड लाइक टू कंक्लूड विद दिस कि आपको अगर ये वीडियो यूज़फुल लगे तो प्लीज़ शेयर करें अपने कम्युनिटी में. और जैसा मैंने बताया कि दैट आई वुड बी कनेक्टिंग विद you people if as a personal guidance in history optional. I would try my best to be a very useful person इस इंस्टीट्यूट के लिए और आपके लिए. तो अगर आपको ये वीडियो अगर यूज़फुल लगे तो आप प्लीज़ इसको लाइक करें, शेयर करें, और चैनल को आप सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं, और अपने कम्युनिटी में आप यू कैन स्प्रेड द वर्ड. ऑल द बेस्ट.